The English had to accept both the past and the future. The past is our armor, the future is our guns. Our comfort is the longbow, but to be superior we have to use guns. John, head historian, Henricus Historical Site.
Just as the original European inhabitants of Virginia were challenged with balancing the past with the future, so too is Richmond challenged with writing and rewriting its history. The experience at Richmond's tourist institutions are determined by the type of funding the site receives and when it opened. Funding for tourist sites can come from many sources. In Richmond, it appears that sites funded locally allow their presenters more freedom to introduce controversial interpretations of history. For-profit sites tend to display a traditional and sanitized textbook version of the past that represent limited perspectives. In contrast, Richmond's federally funded and operated sites show a more inclusive interpretation of the past.
Richmond's locally funded tourist sites include the city of Henricus and the Elegba Folklore Society. Henricus is 8 years old and is still being expanded, as stated by their head historian.
Our goal is to be provocative because that's what promotes in-depth questioning and thinking. We don't shirk from our interpretation.
For example, tourists are told how Anne Proctor's indentured servant was flogged with fishhooks 500 times for attempting to run away. As a living history site, the tourist understands objects by interacting with people and their surroundings. A prop is not just a prop. Why is it there? Where did it come from? In the same vein, the Elegba Folklore Society has for 20 years provided a personal and emotional connection to the history of enslaved Africans in Richmond, using acting, props, stories, music, religious rituals, and call and response in native tongues.
Richmond's privately funded and family-owned tourist sites emphasize ongoing traditions focused on the gentry. At Shirley Plantation, opened to the public in 1952. This is shown through portraits and stories of the 11 generations of the Carter Hill family, as stated by Julian, Director of Visitor Services.
Our mission is to show 400 years of American history through the eyes of one family.
Their close neighbor, Berkeley Plantation, currently owned by the Jameson family and opened to the public after World War II, celebrates the life of the upper class through home furnishings and stories of the political accomplishments of the Harrison family.
Richmond's federally operated tourist sites attempt to present a more balanced perspective on Southern history. The Maggie Walker National Historic Site, opened in 1978, shares the life of the first woman to found a bank.
As a leader, her successes and vision offered tangible improvements in the way of life for African Americans and women. National Park Service.
Since the 1970s, the Petersburg National Battlefield memorializes U.S. colored troops. Through role-playing and storytelling, using quotes from real people, the Park Service conveys a balanced representation of both Union and Confederate troops by sharing the successes and failures of both sides, as well as the humanity of war.
The war is the war. Emmanuel, National Park Service Ranger.
In the last 30 years, Richmond has re-envisioned the storytelling of its past by bringing untold stories to the surface. For example, the Black History Museum and Cultural Center of Virginia opened to the public in 1991. The U.S. Army Women's Museum, the only one of its kind in the world, moved to Richmond in 1999. The Reconciliation Triangle statue was erected in 2007. The Moton School Strike statue on Capitol Hill was unveiled in 2008. Most notably, the American Civil War Center opened in 2006 to critical acclaim for its inclusion of Union, Confederate, and African American perspectives. So, what is the vision for the future of Richmond's past? As engraved on the Reconciliation statue, Richmond's tourist sites must
Acknowledge and forgive the past. Embrace the present. shape a future of reconciliation and justice.
Following the example of Petersburg National Battlefield, tourist sites should strive to present a balanced interpretation using experiential learning. Our recommendations are: 1. Continue to erect statues and monuments honoring women and Native Americans. 2. Open new museums. As home to the girl we know as Pocahontas, Richmond needs a museum dedicated to American Indians. As the fastest growing region in the United States, the city needs to recognize the contributions of immigrants and the common people throughout the last 400 years. 3. Provide more integration of missing voices at exhibition sites. 4. Use first-person interpreters, role-playing, and props for simulations.
The vision for Richmond's future is: strive for authenticity and accuracy, strive for integration of many perspectives in each site, strive for meaningful involvement of the audience. As stated by Janine of Alegba,
we can't keep history hidden when it is in plain sight.